There is a cold, agonizing exhaustion that settles deep inside the marrow of the most giving people on this earth. The vast majority of you have already lived through this suffocating sensation. You know the exact feeling of sitting quietly in the burning ruins of your own psychological empire, watching a person for whom you have bled, sacrificed, and lost countless nights of sleep, willingly walk right back into the exact same fire. You feel the crushing, asphyxiating realization that your endless sacrifices did not heal them. In fact, they look at you not with gratitude, but with a lingering, toxic resentment for daring to intervene. Your so-called goodness is not saving them. It is actively, violently killing you from the inside out. Listen to me with absolute, surgical clarity. The exhaustion crushing your chest is not a testament to your noble character, and it is certainly not a moral failing on your part. You are suffering because a profoundly sick modern society has systematically hacked your nervous system. You have been force-fed a devastating biological lie. Culture has romanticized the disease of the savior complex, teaching you that boundless, unregulated empathy is the highest pinnacle of human virtue. But the unforgiving reality of human neurobiology exposes this as a lethal trap. When you continuously absorb the chaotic dysregulation of another human being, your prefrontal cortex, the logical, sovereign, and structured center of your brain shuts down. Your amygdala fires uncontrollably, plunging your body into a chronic, unrelenting state of survival. You have not become a magnificent hero. You have simply been programmed to act as a willing, bleeding host for a parasite. Today, we are going to permanently obliterate this destructive programming from your mind. We will dissect the 4 laws of martial sovereignty, the invisible, ancient architecture that strictly separates lethal compassion from diseased empathy. We will begin at the 4th law and descend into the absolute, terrifying depths of the 1st law. Listen to me with unshakable reverence. The 1st law is the terrifying abyss, where 99% of human beings completely and tragically break. They reach this final boundary, their ego panics, and they choose to sink with the ship rather than endure the agonizing pain of cutting the anchor. If you are truly ready to drop the illusion, abandon your romanticized victimhood, and forge an impenetrable empire, walk with me now. Settle your physical body. Anchor the heavy bones of your feet deeply into the solid earth beneath you. Lower your breath into the silent, dark cavern of your dantian, and let the weak, artificial noise of modern altruism completely dissolve into nothingness. To stop the catastrophic hemorrhage of your vital energy, we must first examine the fatal flaw in how you distribute your life force. We begin with the 4th law of martial sovereignty, the destruction of the infinite water illusion. The unmastered, highly empathetic mind operates on a deeply arrogant and biologically flawed assumption. You believe that your love, your patience, and your positive energy possess such divine magnitude that they can magically cleanse the toxicity of another human being. You view your soul as a pure, infinite mountain spring, and you falsely believe that if you just pour enough of your crystal clear water into their poisoned well, eventually, the well will be purified. You must observe this through the cold, unforgiving laws of physics. If you pour a gallon of pure spring water into a well filled with black, rotting poison, you do not purify the well. You simply waste a gallon of pure water. The poison immediately consumes and corrupts it. Chronic toxicity, emotional immaturity, and narcissism are not merely a lack of love. They are deeply ingrained neurological structures. When you constantly engage with a chaotic individual, attempting to fix their self-inflicted crises, you initiate a deadly transaction within your own nervous system. The human brain operates on a network of mirror neurons, designed to simulate the emotional states of those around us. In a dynamic between 2 sovereign equals, this creates a beautiful, resonant connection. But when you desperately try to save a poisoned well, your mirror neurons forcefully replicate their chaos inside your own physical body. Their manufactured panic attacks become your actual physiological stress. Their profound lack of accountability becomes your crushing, misplaced guilt. You believe you are stoically carrying their burden, but you are actually allowing their diseased nervous system to completely override and sabotage your healthy one. This is emotional contagion, and it is a biological hijack. You cannot outlove a black hole. It possesses no bottom. It will consume your time, your financial resources, and your psychological peace until you are nothing more than a hollow, exhausted shell. and then it will effortlessly move on to find a new host to drain. To reclaim your sovereignty, you must eradicate the fatal misconception of unconditional love. The ancient masters understood that you can hold unconditional love for a soul in your heart, but you must never, under any circumstances, grant them unconditional access to your vital energy. Your empathy is a finite, highly precious metabolic resource. It is the heavy gold of your internal vault. A true sovereign king or queen does not throw gold into a bottomless pit and call it charity. You must deploy the heavy, iron discipline of the Shaolin gates. You reserve your deep, flowing water exclusively for those who possess the structural integrity to hold it, respect it, and reciprocate it. If the well is poisoned, you do not offer it your water. You build a massive stone wall around it, you lock the gates, and you walk away. But even when you intellectually recognize the poisoned well, your unmastered ego will attempt to deceive you. It will whisper that they are simply a wounded bird, and that your intervention is the only thing keeping them alive. This lethal misunderstanding brings us to the second devastating trap. We must now dissect the cold, predatory nature of chronic dysfunction, and the arrogant theft you commit when you try to fix it. This brings us to the third law of martial sovereignty, the destruction of arrogance and the theft of karma. Modern society has aggressively placed the empath on a pedestal. You have been told your entire life that your relentless desire to fix other people, to absorb their pain, and to guide them out of their own darkness is the ultimate sign of a highly evolved, selfless soul. You view your endless interventions, your financial sacrifices, and your constant emotional coaching as acts of pure, untainted love. I am going to violently shatter this mirror right now. Look closely at the reflection. What you call selfless, unconditional love, the ancient, unforgiving laws of the universe call absolute, blinding arrogance. To truly reclaim your sovereign mind, you must be willing to face the terrifying reality of your own unmastered ego. When you look at a chaotic, self-destructive human being and you unilaterally decide that you are the one who is going to fix them, you are subconsciously elevating yourself above them. You are looking down from a fabricated psychological pedestal, secretly determining that they are too weak, too broken, or too incompetent to navigate the heavy gravity of their own existence. You are acting as if you possess the supreme, divine wisdom to orchestrate the exact, correct trajectory of another human soul. In the ancient philosophical traditions of Shaolin, there is a profound, unshakable reverence for the individual path. The physical and spiritual universe operates on the flawless, heavy mechanics of cause and effect. Call it karma, or simply call it the unforgiving law of nature. Every single soul on this earth is assigned a specific, heavy burden that they must carry in order to achieve their own psychological and spiritual awakening. The pain they experience from their terrible decisions is not a mistake. It is the exact, precisely calculated fire designed by the universe to burn away their ignorance and forge their character. Observe the unforgiving physics of the butterfly and the cocoon. For a butterfly to develop the magnificent, aerodynamic strength required to fly, it must endure the agonizing, exhausting struggle of pushing its way out of the tight, restrictive cocoon. This brutal physical friction forces the fluid from its body deep into its wings. If you look at the struggling insect, feel a rush of weak, modern pity, and take a sharp blade to gently cut the cocoon open to save it from the struggle, you commit a biological atrocity. The butterfly will emerge easily, but its wings will be shriveled and useless. It will fall to the ground and immediately die. Your intervention was not an act of mercy, it was a lethal execution disguised as kindness. When you forcefully step in and shield a toxic or irresponsible person from the devastating consequences of their actions, you are the blade cutting the cocoon. When you pay the debts they recklessly accumulated, when you formulate the apologies they were too proud to speak, and when you constantly soothe the chaotic messes they intentionally created, you are not acting as a hero. You are acting as a thief. You are literally stealing the sacred fire of their own personal evolution. You are robbing them of the exact friction they desperately require to initiate a transformation. But this arrogant theft leads us directly into an even darker, more predatory dynamic. You mistakenly assume that the toxic person actually wants to emerge from the cocoon and fly. You assume their ultimate goal is independence. This is the grandest delusion of the modern empath, and it brings us to the second law of martial sovereignty, the annihilation of the parasite's contract. You must observe the brutal truth of the natural world. In biology, a true parasite does not want its host to die immediately, because that would destroy its food source. But the parasite also has absolutely no desire to become independent. The parasite's sole evolutionary objective is to extract just enough metabolic energy from the host to survive in complete comfort, without ever having to burn its own calories or face the harsh, freezing elements of reality. The chronically toxic individuals in your life, the ones who are always trapped in a crisis, always playing the bleeding victim, and constantly demanding your intervention, do not want to be cured. They want to be sustained. You must understand the neurobiology of behavioral change. The human brain is incredibly lazy. It only rewires its neural pathways and changes its behavior when it experiences the severe, physical discomfort of failure. If you constantly act as a soft, comfortable shock absorber for their terrible decisions, their nervous system registers absolutely zero consequences. Therefore, their brain allocates zero metabolic energy toward changing their destructive patterns. By removing their pain, your help is actively financing their disease. You must read the invisible contract they handed to you when you decided to play the hero. The contract says, "I will continue to act with reckless, toxic abandon, and you will continue to absorb the damage. As long as you sign that contract with your actions, they will never ever change." Why would they? They have successfully outsourced their suffering to you. To reclaim your sovereignty, you must tear this contract to shreds. You must force the toxic individual to face the terrifying, crushing gravity of their own actions. You must step back, cross your arms, and let their world burn if they were the ones who intentionally lit the match. You have now destroyed the illusion of infinite water. You have recognized your own arrogance and stopped stealing their karma. You have shredded the parasite's contract. Your borders are hardening into impenetrable iron. But standing in the wreckage of your old programming, you now face the final, ultimate precipice. Knowing logically that you must let them fall is one thing. Actually releasing your grip as they scream for your help is an entirely different, blood-soaked war. Your logical mind is finally armed, but possessing the intellectual understanding of a boundary is absolutely meaningless if your nervous system collapses the exact second that boundary is tested in the physical world. We must now enter the execution chamber of the unmastered ego, where the mind completely shatters under the crushing, suffocating weight of false responsibility. This brings us to the first law of martial sovereignty, the discipline of inaction, and the terrifying capacity to watch them sink. When you finally draw a line in the sand with a toxic, chaotic, or parasitic individual, you must anticipate their reaction with the cold calculation of a martial artist. They will not respect your boundary. They will not nod in understanding, experience a sudden epiphany, and take accountability for their disastrous lives. Instead, they will deploy the most lethal, neurobiological weapon in the human arsenal. They will actively, intentionally weaponize your own empathy against you. They will look you directly in the eyes, or they will send you a frantic, desperate message, and they will completely invert reality. They will tell you that you are cold, that you are arrogant, and that you are abandoning them in their darkest hour. They will meticulously craft a narrative where your refusal to save them is the exact cause of their destruction. You must understand the brutal neurobiology of what is happening in your brain in this exact millisecond. Guilt is a powerful, primitive social emotion. Evolutionarily, it was designed to keep the human tribe together. If you harmed a member of the tribe, you felt guilt, which prompted you to repair the damage so you would not be cast out into the wilderness. But toxic individuals are master hackers of this biological system. They artificially trigger your guilt response, tricking your amygdala into believing that you have committed a severe moral crime simply by protecting your own sanity. If you are not anchored to the heavy bedrock of reality, this fabricated guilt will absolutely crush you. Your chest will tighten. A sickening knot will form in your stomach. Your unmastered ego will scream at you that if they fail, if they spiral into absolute ruin, their blood will be entirely on your hands. And so, 99% of kind-hearted people tragically break right here. Terrified of the guilt, they drop their iron shield, they apologize for having a boundary, and they dive right back into the poisonous well to rescue the parasite. To permanently survive this illusion, You must deeply internalize the ancient concept of Wu Wei, the supreme discipline of non-action, but you must apply it to the visceral, terrifying metaphor of the drowning man. If you are standing on the solid shore and you see a man drowning in the violent, raging rapids of a river, your first instinct is to dive into the water to save him. But any professional rescue swimmer will tell you a dark, terrifying truth about the physics of a drowning human being. A person who is drowning is in a state of absolute, blind biological panic. Their brain is starved for oxygen. They are not rational. If you swim out and offer them your hand, they will not calmly take it. In their desperate, blinding terror to survive, they will violently climb on top of your head. They will push your body deep underwater, and they will drown you both just to get a single desperate breath of air. The chronically toxic people in your life are drowning in the violent consequences of their own chaotic decisions. They are thrashing wildly in the water. If you get close enough to try to lift them, they will not hesitate to push you under. They will drain your bank account, they will destroy your mental health, and they will sabotage your peace, all while using your shoulders to keep their own head above the surface. A sovereign master understands that lethal compassion is not diving into the rapids to drown with them. Lethal compassion is standing firmly on the solid rock of the shore. You can throw them a rope, you can point to the shallow water, you can offer clear guidance from a distance, but you absolutely, unequivocally refuse to jump into the lethal current. And if they refuse to grab the rope, if they demand that you jump in and save them instead of swimming toward the shore themselves, you must possess the chilling, unshakable discipline to stand on the mountain and watch them sink. Their destruction is not your fault. Their refusal to swim is not your failure. You must take the fabricated, toxic guilt they try to hand you, and you must drop it onto the floor like a piece of rotting garbage. It does not belong to you. I know the agonizing, invisible exhaustion you have carried deep inside your cellular structure for all these years. I know the profound, quiet tragedy of spending your entire life desperately trying to be the solid pillar for everyone else's collapsing world. You have burned the pure, liquid gold of your vital energy attempting to carry the dead weight of broken people on your back. You have sacrificed your peace, compromised your own boundaries, and doubted your own objective sanity, bleeding your soul dry for people who would not offer you a single drop of water if you were dying of thirst. You have sat alone in the dark ruins of your own life, feeling the crushing weight of their problems, wondering when it would finally be your turn to be saved. You were taught by a broken, manipulative society that being a silent martyr was the ultimate expression of your noble heart. You were lied to. Shrinking your sovereignty and handing your sanity over to toxic individuals does not make you a saint, it makes you a voluntary casualty. But the era of your desperate, reactive martyrdom is now officially, permanently dead. The biological hemorrhage has been stopped. You now possess the ancient, heavy, invisible architecture of the untouchable mind. You understand the lethal illusion of infinite water. You have eradicated the arrogance of intervention, refusing to steal the sacred fire of their karma. You have destroyed the parasite's contract. And you have ruthlessly executed the illusion of transferred guilt, assuming the terrifying, magnificent weight of absolute boundaries. The stages of the world are already built for tomorrow. The energetic vampires and the relentless tests of your new iron boundaries are actively waiting for you. Tomorrow morning, when the chaos knocks on the heavy gates of your empire, demanding the gold of your sanity to finance their own ruin, what will you do? Will you lower your shield, open the gates, swallow the false guilt, and betray your own soul just to be called a good person? Or will you raise the impenetrable stone wall, embrace the majestic, agonizing silence of the mountain, and possess the lethal, unshakable strength to simply let them face their own destiny? The choice is yours. The path is open. Amatu Ofo.